It'll be tablet 12. It'll be Inanna, Gilgamesh, and a Huluppu Tree, the drum in the underworld. Okay, so let me give you a little information about the person who translated this for me. It's Diane Wolkstein and Samuel Noah Kramer. They did it in 1983, but Samuel Noah Kramer did it again way back in 1938. So they retranslated it and they worked on it twice. So Wolkstein is Diane Wolkstein, and Samuel Noah Kramer did it in 1983, but it was just a redo because Samuel Kramer had did it in 1938. Which, if you look at 1983 subtract 1938, he had over 40 years of experience. So I'm just going to take his word with the interpretation. So it starts off as this page contains two different texts which may have originally gone together, although perhaps not. The first text is Inanna and the Huluppu Tree, and in this story, Inanna and Gilgamesh are on good terms. Gilgamesh does pest control on Inanna's tree, then makes out of it a throne and a bed for her. In turn, she makes him a musical drum and drumstick from the same tree. The drum becomes the tool Gilgamesh uses to summon warriors to battle, which of course sets up the problem for which the gods intend Enkidu to be the solution. That's in the epic, not here. The solution here is that he accidentally drops it into the underworld. Now, this is the setup for the second part, which is also considered tablet 12 of the epic. Enkidu volunteers to go to the underworld to fetch it for him when it falls in, but he is trapped there. Okay, and when his spirit is let out, he reports to Gilgamesh on the way life is down there. The drum becomes the tool, the solution, and most of the Huluppu Tree story was translated by Wolkstein and Kramer in 1983, although in some proportion of it had been done way back in 1938. And okay, so let's start now. The Huluppu Tree. That's the tree of life. In the first days, in the very first days, in the first nights, in the very first nights, in the first years, in the very first years, in the first days when everything needed was brought into being, in the first days when everything needed was properly nourished, when bread was baked in the shrines in the land, and bread was tasted in the homes of the land, and when heaven had moved away from earth, and earth had separated from heaven, and the name of man was fixed. When the sky god An had carried off the heavens, and the air god Enlil had carried off the earth, when the queen of the great below, Ereshkigal, was given the underworld for her domain. Small windstones were tossed up against him. Large hailstones were hurled up against him. Like onrushing turtles, they charged the keel of Enki's boat. The waters of the sea devoured the bow of his boat like wolves. The waters of the sea struck the stern of his boat like lions. At that time, a single tree, a Huluppu tree, was planted by the banks of the Euphrates. The tree was nurtured by the waters of the Euphrates. The whirling south wind arose, pulling it at its roots and ripping at its branches, until the waters of the Euphrates had carried it away. A woman who walked in fear of the word of the sky god An, who walked in fear of the air god Enlil, plucked the tree from the river and spoke. I shall bring this tree to Europe. I shall plant this tree in my holy garden. Inanna carried the tree with her hand. She settled the earth around the tree with her foot, and she wondered, how long will it be until I have a shining throne to sit upon? How long will it be until I have a shining bed to lie upon? The years passed, 5 years, and then 10 years. The tree grew thick, but its bark did not split. When the serpent, who could not be charmed, made its nest in the roots of the Huluppu Tree, and the anzu bird set its young on the branches of the tree, and the dark maid Lilith built her home in the trunk. The young woman who loved to laugh wept. How Inanna wept! Yet they would not leave her tree. As the birds began to sing in the coming of dawn, the sun god Utu left his royal bedchamber. And Nana called to her brother Utu, the sun god, saying, "Oh, Utu, in the days when the fates were decreed, when abundance overflowed in the land, when the sky god took the heavens and the air god took the earth, when Ereshkigal was given the great below for her domain, the god of wisdom, Father Enki, set a sail for the underworld, and the underworld rose up and attacked him. At that time, a single tree, the Huluppu Tree, was planted by the banks of the Euphrates, and the south wind had pulled it up at its roots and at its branches until the water of the Euphrates had carried it away. I plucked the tree from the river. I brought it to my holy garden. I tended the tree, and I waited for my shining throne in bed. Then a serpent who would not be charmed made his nest in the roots of the tree, and the azu bird set his young in the branches of the tree, and the dark maid made her home in the trunk. And I wept. How I wept! Yet they would not leave my tree. Utu, the valiant warrior Utu, would not help his sister Inanna. As the birds began to sing at the coming of the second dawn, Inanna called to her brother Gilgamesh, saying, "O Gilgamesh, in the days when the fates were decreed, when abundance overflowed in Sumer, when the sky god had taken the heavens and the air god the earth, when the rescue god had given the great below for her domain, the god of wisdom, Father Enki, set sail for the underworld. And the underworld rose up and attacked him. And at that time, a single tree, a Huluppu tree, was planted by the banks of the Euphrates. The south wind pulled at its roots and ripped at its branches until the waters of the Euphrates had carried it away. I plucked the tree from the river. I brought it to my holy garden. I tended the tree, waiting for my shining throne in bed. Then the serpent who would not be charmed made his nest in the tree. I wept. Gilgamesh, the valiant warrior, Gilgamesh, the hero of Uruk, stood by Inanna. Gilgamesh fastened on his armor of 50 minas around his chest. The 50 minas weighed as little to him as 50 feathers. He lifted his bronze axe, the axe of the road, weighing 7 talents and 7 minas, to his shoulder, and entered Inanna's holy garden, the Garden of Eden. Gilgamesh struck a serpent who could not be charmed. The Anzu bird flew with his young to the mountains, and Lilith smashed her home and fled in the wild, uninhabited places. Gilgamesh then loosened the roots of the Huluppu Tree, and the sons of the city who accompanied him cut off the branches. From the trunk of the tree, he carved a throne for his holy sister. From the trunk of the tree, Gilgamesh carved a bed for Inanna. From the roots of the tree, she fashioned a puku for her brother. And from the crown of the tree, Inanna fashioned a miku for Gilgamesh, the hero of Ur. So when he pulled up the tree of life, she gave him the miku, which is the drum, and the puku, which is the drumsticks. Okay, so the summoning drum. In street and lane, he made the drum resound. The loud drumming in street and lane, he made the drumming resound. The young men of the city summoned by the drum, bitterness and woe. He is the affliction of their widows. O my mate, O my spouse, they lamented. Who had a mother? She brings bread to her son. Who had a sister? She brings water to her brother. After the evening star had disappeared and he had marked the places where his drum had been, he carried the drum before him, brought it to his house at dawn in the places he had marked. Bitterness and woe, captives, dead, widows. His drum and drumstick fell into the dwelling. Because of the cry of the young maidens, his drum and drumstick fell into the great dwelling. He put it in his hand, it could not reach him. He put in his foot, he could not reach him. He sat down at the great Ganzir, the eye of the netherworld. Gilgamesh wept. His face turns pale. He cried, "Oh, my drumstick! Oh, my drum!" That time when I had the drum in the carpenter's house, when the carpenter's wife was like my mother who bore me, when the carpenter's daughter was like my younger sister. Who will bring up the drum from the netherworld? Who will bring the drum up the drumstick from the netherworld? Enkidu said to Gilgamesh, his lord, "My lord, why are you crying? Why is your heart so sick? I will bring up the drum from the netherworld. I will bring up the drumstick from the netherworld." Gilgamesh said to Enkidu, his servant, "If you will go down to the netherworld, I will speak a word to you. Take my word. Heed well my admonitions. Do not put on clean clothes. If you look like a traveler, they will mark you. Do not anoint yourself with sweet oil from the jar. At a whiff, they will gather around you. Do not toss or throw a stick into the netherworld. Anyone it hits will surround you. And do not take a staff in your hands. The spirits will tremble on your account. Do not fasten sandals on your feet. You do not want to make a sound in the netherworld. And do not kiss the wife you love. Do not hit the wife you hate. Do not kiss the wife you love. Do not hit the son you hate. The wailing of the netherworld wants to grab you. She who rests, her holy shoulders are not covered with clothes. Her cruise-shaped breasts are not wrapped with cloth. Enkidu gave no heed to his lord's admonitions. He put on clean clothes. He marked him. They marked him as a traveler. He anointed himself with sweet oil from the jar. At a whiff, they gathered around him. He tossed the throw stick into the netherworld. The ones he struck with it surrounded him. He took a staff in his hand. The spirits trembled on his account. He fastened sandals on his feet. He made a sound in the netherworld. He kissed his beloved wife. He hit his hated wife. He kissed his beloved son. He hit his hated son. The wailing of another world seized him. She who rests, the mother of Inanna, she who rests. Her holy shoulders were not covered with clothes. Her cruise-shaped breasts were not wrapped with cloth. She did not allow Enkidu to ascend from another world. Namtar did not seize him. Fever did not seize him. The netherworld seized him. Nergal's unsparing deputy did not seize him. The netherworld seized him. He did not fall in the battlefield. The netherworld seized him. Then my lord, the son of Ninsun, weeping over Enkidu his servant, went all alone to Ekur, the temple of Enlil. Father Enlil, look, my drum fell into the netherworld. My drumstick fell into the netherworld. The netherworld seized Enkidu, whom I sent to bring them up. Namtar did not seize him. Fever did not seize him. The netherworld seized him. Nergal's unsparing deputy did not seize him. The netherworld seized him. He did not fall on the battlefield. Father and Leo did not intercede for him in the matter. He went to earth. Father sinned. Look, my drum fell into the netherworld. My drumstick fell into the netherworld. The netherworld seized Enkidu, whom I sent to bring them up. Namtar did not seize him. Phoebus did not seize him. The netherworld seized him. Nergal's unsparing deputy did not seize him. The netherworld seized him. He did not fall in the battlefield. The netherworld seized him. Father Sin did not intercede for him in the matter. He went to Eridu. Father Ea, look, my drum fell into the netherworld. My drumstick fell into the netherworld. The netherworld seized Enkidu, whom I sent to bring them up. Namtar did not seize him. Fever did not seize him. Netherworld seized him. Nergal's unsparing deputy did not seize him. The netherworld seized him. He did not fall on the battlefield. The netherworld seized him. Father Ea did intercede for him in the matter. He said to the valiant hero Nergal, "O valiant hero Nergal, without delay, open the hole in the earth so that the spirit of Enkidu can come out of the netherworld so he can tell the ways of the netherworld to his brother." The valiant hero Nergal listened to Ea. He had just opened the hole in the earth when the spirit of Enkidu, like a wind puff, came out from the netherworld. They embraced and kissed each other. They exchanged counsel, sighing at each other. "Tell me the order of the netherworld which you have seen." I will not tell you. I will not tell you. But if I tell you the order of the netherworld which I have seen, sit you down and weep. I will sit down and weep. My body, which you touch as your heart rejoiced. Vermin devour it were as if it were old clothes. My body, which you touch as your heart rejoiced, is filled with dust. He cried, "Woe!" and threw himself in the dust. Gilgamesh cried, "Woe!" and threw himself in the dust. Have you seen? I have seen. I have seen. Weeps over it. I have seen. Eats bread. I have seen. Drinks water. Have you seen? I have seen. His heart rejoices. Have you seen? I have seen. Like that of a good scribe in his arm bared. He entered the place. Have you seen? I have seen. Like a beautiful standard. Have you seen him who fell down from the mast? I have seen. Scarcely the pegs are pulled out. Have you seen him who died a sudden death? I have seen. He lies upon the night couch and drinks pure water. Have you seen him who killed in battle? I have seen his father and his mother raise up his head, and his wife weeps over him. Have you seen him whose corpse was cast out upon the steppe? I have seen. His spirit finds no rest in an other world. Have you seen whose spirit has no end to tend it? I have seen. He eats dregs of the pot, crumbs of bread, discards in the street. So that was Enkidu trying to get the drum out of the netherworld for Gilgamesh. And as I said, that was the first example of a shamanic drum. It called forth the dead. You can take your time and read the Epic of Gilgamesh, Tablet 12. The Epic of Gilgamesh, Tablet 12. Okay, and that's it for that one.